Namaste Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is your full moon in Libra reading, your messages for the full moon in Libra. I think this is the first time I've ever done the readings, the moon reading this way. I typically do one for the collective of divine beings, ascended beings, spiritual beings, twin flames, whatever you want to call it. But I was moved to do little mini readings by sign this time. Not sure why, but I'm not fighting the universe. Speaking of not fighting the universe, your first card, you're going to have 5 in total, including the overall energy, which is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And it is about change. Now, change can sometimes be unwelcome, right? We don't want to change. We want to hold on to things. The full moon is also very much so about things coming to a close, things coming to an end. But the very bright side of that is with every death, with every ending, there is a new beginning. And so that's what we can look forward to. But with it in reverse like this, there may be some changes that come about that we'd rather didn't for whatever reason. We just prefer to hold on to whatever we had instead for whatever reason, but we're going to have to let go. If you're struggling with the change, I pray that you have some sort of support system in some shape or form, some friend or family member, or something to which you can go. If not, sometimes not just speaking to ourselves aloud can be enough. But sometimes if you're going to talk to yourself, it can be helpful to do it in a mirror and very reassuring. It's in fact called mirror work. And it's very like reaffirming, and people use it to say their like morning and maybe before bed affirmations to reassure themselves. What else I want to say about this? It's needed change. It's also not some change that's coming about for unnecessarily and, oh, why me? It's needed change that's happening. That some sort of aspect of in some aspect of your life, some area, something needs to come to a close. And that can be a good thing. Also, from the onset, it can be a good thing. I don't want to scare anybody because the Wheel of Fortune in general tends to be a positive card when it shows up, whether it's upright or in reverse, because it means reversal of fortune. And, most people are typically going through, they're more difficult times, for long periods. Not necessarily, difficult times dealing with one scenario or another. And so when there's a reversal of fortune, it's like, okay, well, now is my super positive period, all that manifestation that you've been working on paying off. And that also makes sense because the Wheel of Fortune is connected and represents the planet Jupiter, which is the sign of karma, or the planet rather, of karma, growth, expansion, luck. So Jupiter is who, pays us for these things. Just think about it in terms of reward. Right. So even if something's coming to an end and something that you would rather didn't come to an end, but perhaps one's job, that's happening all over the country, right? All over the world. People are losing their jobs, unfortunately, having to go on unemployment. And even, though it's scary that you're perhaps having to let go of your job, just keep in mind that, again, this is the planet that pays us off for, rewards us for our karma. It is the planet that is of luck. So it's like your good luck paying off too. As a representation of the planet that's of Jupiter, it's also connected to the sign of Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules, as well as the fixed signs. So a Sagittarius, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, or Taurus may be particularly significant to you and or this next period of like about 2 weeks until the new moon. Actually, some of you may not even be losing your job. You may be deciding to leave it. Maybe you don't want to be an essential worker anymore. You don't want to work at the grocery store, the post office, or I've seen some news reports of even like nurses quitting because they didn't have the right PPE and all this sort of thing. So this is our reality these days, largely. shared reality. And so it could be something like that. Same thing goes for a long-term relationship. Some of you may be deciding that you don't want that anymore. So you could be the conduit for the change. You could be bringing about the change in your own life. All right. So your first card, the one that's going to be most representing you over the period of the next 2 weeks as it relates to what the moon is gifting you in terms of change and what's happened, coming to a close and new beginnings, is very nice. The High Priestess upright. Okay, so she's a super spiritual card. And you have some other cards here tied to spirituality in your oracle advice that we'll get to in a second. She's also a card that can have very heavy sexual overtones. Some of you may be involved with, or is a Gemini may be particularly significant, as well as a water sign. Again, I'll start with Scorpio because that one also connected to your overall energy of the Wheel of Fortune. But Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, possibly very significant. This card and the High Priestess in general, a High Priestess energy, also tied very closely, tightly to the moon, femininity, and the need to pay very, very close attention to your intuition and trust yourself. Trust what your body is telling you in terms of decisions that you're having to make and things. Maybe in connection to leaving a job or leaving a relationship. Your next card, surrounding energy. This could be people around you, close friends and or family, your significant other if you have one, or a person of interest, or somebody who's interested in you, co-workers, somebody down to the job or that you come into contact with doing your daily business, whatever that may be. And this is the Eight of Cups in reverse. And this card too can be about especially in terms of relationships, you may be feeling that you want to end a long-term relationship, particularly, or to get out of your current work situation. It doesn't work for you anymore. It can also be about, wanting to leave different aspects of your life behind, and especially in terms of your ideologies. You could be changing your political affiliation, maybe with what's going on around the world or around the country, or both. Or your religious beliefs, maybe some minister or organization as a whole, maybe they let you down. Maybe they didn't come through the way you had always thought they would in this sort of situation, or something like that. Or you could just, maybe you didn't have a religion or even a relationship, and you're just looking to yourself some more, to your higher self. You're becoming more spiritual. Again, the High Priestess, also a very spiritual card. And so this is walking away from a change coming to you and through you to your old ways, welcoming the new you. You know that like that T.I. song, "The Old Me Is Dead and Gone"? Well, T.I.'s still with us, right? Thank God. So he was talking about the aspects of himself and the way he used to be. That's what's dead and gone. And he's a new T.I. And hopefully we continue to die and be reborn, throughout our lifetime in the physical, on this plane, the 3D plane that we call the planet Earth. For work and finance, your card is Major Arcana card 4, the Emperor. Very representative of the sign of Aries, as well as Scorpio. Again, so I think some Scorpio, either you guys are like Libra, part Scorpio, maybe. That's what's happening here, like on the cusp. Or a Scorpio may be pretty significant to you, or perhaps your moon sign or your rising sign or something like that. Or maybe your sun sign and you're not a Libra sun, you're a Libra rising or moon. So you tuned into this, whatever. Because the Emperor represents the planet Mars, is why I say that. Ruler of the signs of Aries and Scorpio in part. This is all about organization and logic. And when it falls into the position of your work, it means that the people around you see you as very logical and organized. And those two things are super important right now. Like, you need follow through on what you begin. It's very important to pay attention to detail and to organization and to things to be done, the proper way, especially like when you're doing them, you're getting credit for them or you're taking responsibility for something. And so you don't want it to come out wrong. You don't want to be blamed for something that isn't right, particularly when you shouldn't be. So like, you stay on top of your work so that you always have an explanation for it. If you're looking for work, it's a good time to like, try to, and this, maybe you want to go into the mirror again. Try to look at yourself from the way that others see you, and like picture yourself like, what is it that I'm trying to convey I can offer to other people? What are the reasons that they should hire me? And then you're going to want to stress those things. Whatever those reasons are that you come up with about yourself, those are the things you're going to want to stress. If you're actively having a job, again, your work is not also, I wanted to mention, your work is not going unnoticed. Your efforts are not going unnoticed. So maybe you are, again, one of these essential workers. People are recognizing it. And I know in my neighborhood, I thought that they had tried to get it to go around the country and stuff. But in my neighborhood, one of my friends was involved with doing this daily applause that just keeps getting larger and larger and larger for the healthcare workers. And I live across the street from the hospital. So every day people like pull up in front of the hospital or stop there. You know, if they happen to be passing by, they stop their car, or if they're walking by, they stop and they start clapping. And somebody was playing New York, New York. Both versions. I heard the Jay-Z and Alicia Keys version. I heard the version by Old Blue Eyes. And then they clap and they cheer, and this goes on for about 2 minutes. I think there was an encore yesterday, like it stopped and then it started again. In any case, you are appreciated for what you're doing. I had a siren come through, one of the signs for which I was reading when I did the astrological readings last week. And I said something about putting out fires, and somebody, and firemen like to the rescue. And somebody replied, like, I'm a fireman. You guys are really, really appreciated right now. All of you, firemen and women, the military, even though the country didn't show it recently. I certainly appreciate you. And I'm not alone. There are many, many of us that do. Police officers, teachers, all that you're doing, even from home. Very much appreciated. The grocery store workers, the people down to the CVS and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely not going unnoticed. It shouldn't be going unnoticed by your boss, but other people are also recognizing all that you have to offer and how very vital and important you are. So this is a really, really nice card for you to get. In terms of finances, more specifically, it's important to know like how much you have, like, do you know what's going on in your accounts? Like, are you organized in that area of your life? Maybe you ask yourself that question. And if you're not, you may want to get organized in that area. And lastly, love and relationship for you. Wow. This is like one of the most beautiful cards you could have for love and relationship. It is the Ace of Cups, of course, again, potentially representative of the energy of a Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces, or someone like into those traits or attributes. It's a wonderful card for love. Existing relationships can, take a turn for the better if maybe they were sort of rocky. If they were wonderful already, expect them to get even more wonderful, to deepen to a new level of understanding between you guys, like really being on the same page, and, having the same like vision for, yourselves and your relationship. Maybe becoming even more, officially committed in a deeper way on the 3D plane. So like entering an actual relationship where you maybe didn't have a label or name for it before. Now you're going to, or getting engaged, or even getting married, or having a baby, starting a family, moving in together. All these different things are possible. And if you are single, and or, just uncommitted, because sometimes that's not the same thing, then, a new relationship is likely to soon pop up for you also. Like something could be, coming in and you could be going official right away. I joke, the last time I, dated somebody, it was, the cuffing season, right? So I said, I refuse to be cuffed. I'm out. Like I'm out of the season. I'm on the bench. I'm benching myself. And it was like February. So like right around the Super Bowl, like out of nowhere, actually Valentine's Day, out of nowhere, I ended up going on a date with somebody, and then, seeing them thereafter for a while. And it was like I went straight to, I joked with my friend that I went straight to the championships. You know, so it could be something like that, like, you know, just you don't expect any kind of relationship, and then boom, all of a sudden you're having one. Further to that, some oracle advice for you guys from my Ascended Masters deck. Peace offering, White Buffalo Calf Woman. So the good news is it was in reverse just now. I turned it around, and I think that the fact that it's in reverse is speaking more largely to what's going on around us, because when this card shows up for me, it does tend to point to like actual physical death. But I can usually also feel and see like who in our, you know, circles, our family members, like, oh, a cousin, an uncle, whatever, you know, a male, a female. Thankfully not getting all of that right now. And again, like I said, it was in reverse. So I think it's pointing to how we're all affected by the larger situation. And again, that may be coming into play in terms of your decisions with regard to your relationships and or your work, you know, what you're doing for work. And I do hope that it doesn't, you know, mean anything personal for anybody, but this is for the masculine people who consider themselves the masculine archetype. That could be females, males, whatever sexuality. You can consider yourself of the masculine archetype. That's for that side. And for the feminine, your card is right, and there's a big full moon on it. How cool is that? This card for me, very Mercurian, representative of the planet Mercury in the sign of Gemini, as well as Virgo, which it rules. Your ruler, Venus, actually currently located in the sign of Gemini, which she also rules. Venus is the esoteric ruler of the sign of Gemini. She's there right now. That may be why this is coming up for you. Some of you may want to journal through what you're going, you know, over this period. Or, you know, take the time. Now's the time when you can write your book, maybe. Maybe you've been working so hard prior all these years, or and now you're home and you're able to do this. You're able to write something. Maybe send a card to a loved one. I did that recently too. Masculine from my Keepers of the Light Oracle. Your card is Cernunnos and Life Force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. That goes nicely with the High Priestess. Again, intuition and sexual powers, both very much increased by the High Priestess as well. Pay attention to that intuition. Use that sexual energy wisely. And feminine, another moon card for you. The moon is representative of feminine energy, you know, and more specifically for me, feminine energy of surrender. It is all about letting go and letting, you know, the energies guide us, letting the universe or God, however you want to look at it, to guide us and show us the way, and, you know, for us to hang up our egos and follow if our body is giving us those messages. There is a beginning within every ending. Isn't that just what I said at the beginning of the reading? How cute. Illusions are revealed and released. So you get some information or some change comes through, you experience it, and you let it go. You let it pass, and you keep on moving. Hope you guys have enjoyed this moon reading for the sign of Libra. Check out the rest of your signs, your moon, your rising, your sun, whichever applies, or that of your significant other. I'm going to do all 12. Namaste.